Now I've got my slide up. I have a very interesting guy, and I am very bloody stoked that we have a full house here, which means there are a lot of people who are willing to hear his information. I am very excited about this. I have copped a fair amount of shit from some people in our team about bringing flat Earth to the menu. You know what? This shows me that there are people interested in this subject, that they are deeply interested in this subject. And you know what? David Weiss has earned his spot on this stage. I have watched him be trolled on the internet and just hold it with grace and comebacks and all these amazing facts and figures and images. And this is one he did. He did this one last night this morning, 6 a.m., when there was a earthquake. His mirror fell down and he put this one up within minutes. And this was his way of showing, and here we go. So I would really like to bring to the stage for what I think will be an absolute ripper, David Weiss. Flat Earth Dave. Here he comes. Woohoo!
All right.
Woo!
Thank you. So I'm going to ask one question. I'm going to go very fast today because I found out I could lay out 50 flat Earth proofs, and if I don't cover the one thing that you were thinking, then the Earth is a globe. So my question is, and I thought about this, how many of you here, raise your hands, are 100% sure the Earth is a globe? We got a couple. Very good. Get out of here, Alec. All right, and I'm not categorizing you all as flat earthers. You're open to suggestions, because we're going to see what goes on here. So, let's see if I can do this. All right, so there we go. All right, so Flat Earth Awakening. Here we go. So Flat Earth is, as the CIA developed PSYOP, created to discredit all truthers. We all thought that. I thought that. I came up with the term ban for life based on anyone suggesting I even watch a Flat Earth video. And I wouldn't do it. And then I finally decided to do it. No, there we go. So if I don't answer all your questions, that doesn't mean the Earth is a globe. So come find me afterwards. Come to on Thursday, I have a workshop, and let's dive deeper into these things. Everything I show you today, I could do 45 minutes on each slide. So we're just going to plant a bunch of seeds today, and it's up to you whether you want to water them. So I can go on YouTube, you can go on YouTube, and you could look up UFOs, you can look up fairies, you can look up the Loch Ness Monster, and it's just a regular, dragons. They'll just show you something. But if you look up flat Earth, you get there's a alien, a hollow Earth. But if you look up flat Earth, you get a Wikipedia warning saying, don't look here. It's been disproven, it's ridiculous, and don't look there. So you all know, if they say don't look here, where are you looking? You got to look there, all right? So people are emotionally attached to their ball, right? You were trained as a child. That's one of the first things you learn in school is the orbits of the sun and the moon and everything. So it's emotional when you have your ball taken away. I'm taking your ball away, so deal with it. You're all grown-ups, right? The shape of the Earth does not matter. It's your position in it and your ability to reach your maximum potential. So what do these three things have in common? Okay? All of them are horseshit, okay? All of them, including that one right there. That's what you Google flat Earth, that's what comes up. That's a flat Earth and a heliocentric model. It's two fake models in one. That's the fakest of them all. This is more real than that, okay? So what is flat Earth, right? We're going to get into that, right? As I showed you, this is not flat Earth. This is flat Earth, 127,000 feet, about 20 miles up, right? You look down, look at the sun right here. There's a hot spot right here. 93 million miles away, or right there where you see it, right? No curvature. The Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour below this balloon. 1,000 miles an hour. This balloon was up there for 3 hours. It should have landed 3,000 miles out in the ocean, but it landed east of where it took off. The Earth is spinning, and it outran the Earth and landed down. If you can't understand that, I can't help you, right? So this is what they teach us. The sun is at the center, and we're orbiting around the sun, but they never want us to look at the side view, right? This is what heliocentrism teaches us. We're orbiting at 66,600 miles an hour. Funny number. We're chasing at about the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. Right? These speeds are incomprehensible. Is there sound on this? There's no sound. Can I get sound? Or if not, it's no big deal. Yeah. So this is, we'll do it without sound if they can't get it. It's all right. This is the hypersonic sled track. You can look it up on YouTube. The sound of it going by it rips your soul apart. It's going by at Mach 8.6 times the speed of sound, right? You have to believe that the Earth is going in a circular elliptical orbit around the sun 10 times faster than that, which you can't even conceive. And it's chasing the sun 100 times faster than that. But when we go out in nature, we see things like this. Wait, did I skip one? Whoops, I just lost connection. What is going on here? I gotta restart. Hold on. I lost connection. Hold on. Right now? What? Yeah, but no, that the internet is that. No, that's not the issue. Okay, so I just want to show you. So we look out in nature. What do you see here? You see a still lake, right? Water, large bodies of water at rest lie flat, and they need to be contained. If you don't have the side of a lake, the water will run away. Well, what is the side of our lake? The side of our lake is Antarctica. It's the shoreline that surrounds our world. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. Balloons going up, look at it, is the Earth spinning 1,000 miles an hour, or is that just going up and floating over a flat stationary Earth? People say, we've known the Earth is flat for 2,000 years. Eratosthenes figured it out with his sticks and shadows, right? The story is he noticed that he could see the bottom of a well, the sun reflecting, so the sun's over him. Good observation. So he sends his buddy 5,000 miles away who counted his steps, figured out how far he was, somehow was able to communicate with him, and he put a stick in the air and measured the shadow, and Eratosthenes put a stick in the air and had no shadow, and they figured out the circumference of the Earth. Awesome math. It works great. The problem is it works great on a flat Earth also with a small local sun. Here's Eratosthenes, no shadow. Here's his buddy, shadow, just like over here, no shadow, shadow. Do the same math, and they both have the same sphericity, right? So the experiment proves nothing. It doesn't prove either, but they teach it to us as it proves everything. Eratosthenes said the sun is far away, therefore the rays are coming in straight. No one's ever seen straight rays. We always see crepuscular rays like this, like the sun is right there above the clouds. If Eratosthenes was right, we'd all see this. No one's ever seen this, right? That's the only way his experiment would work, is if it's like that, right? Here's some beer cans on a table. This table's spherical according to Eratosthenes, right? We got the light is above this one, and there's a shadow. You can do some really good math. The math is absolutely correct, but Eratosthenes was wrong. Let's move on to sunsets. So sunsets, that was the big one for me. The sun goes below the curve. That there's no other way to explain it. This sun right here is going beyond. Remember that, beyond the horizon. Just like this sun is here, as things go away, they get lower in the sky, and it's going to go beyond that cloud. But that cloud's up in the sky, and you can understand that. But if that cloud was 30 miles away, it would look like the horizon, right? It would look like the horizon. There's that one, it's going beyond it. So here's a sun that looks like it's setting, but if we zoom in, this is a super clear day, we can see it's not setting. It's way up in the sky. So the optics of the atmosphere, especially when you're looking across the atmosphere, are very, very confusing until you really understand what you're seeing. So here is a sun. We're looking up at a building. We're in a street in New York City. We're looking up, and the sun's going away. So it went from like 12 o'clock to, let's say, 1 o'clock. So now the sun is, where is the sun? Is it below the horizon, or is it beyond the building? It's beyond the building. Now, how could we see it again? We could float up in the air and look over the building, or we could go backwards a couple miles, and the building would look much lower, and you'd be able to see the sun. So let's look at perspective. This is a perspective grid, and here's this guy. Here's his eye line right here, and I'll put him out in there. What can we say about the top of this mountain? The top of this mountain is thousands of feet above his head. So the top of the mountain is thousands of feet above his head. Same thing. He can go up or backwards. So let's move him. Oh, we got the sun up here, and the sun moves away. It moves beyond the mountain. It's not below. It's just beyond. So if we move him backwards, so we'll move the sun, we'll move the mountain out. Here we go. Almost there. Fill that in. All right. So what can we say about this line here? That line is thousands of feet above his head, but it looks like it's at his eye line. It's thousands of feet above his head. So if the sun goes away, it goes beyond, not below, just beyond that horizontal eye zone. So now if we add the clouds, the sun is above the clouds. Now remember that the sun is above the clouds. The sun goes away, and it goes beyond. Where am I? Okay. There, it's still there. It's just a little delayed. And the sun goes beyond that line here. So now what can we say about this line? That line is two things. It is the top of the mountains. It's also the clouds are merging into that line. So the mountain is thousands of feet above his eye line, and the clouds are thousands of feet above the mountain. The horizon always appears to rise to eye level, but it's thousands and thousands and thousands of feet above your head. And when things that are above it, celestial objects, not boats or buildings, they go beyond it. Okay. So here's just a little time lapse of the moon going away, and it's going down, right? So terrestrial perspective versus celestial perspective. So right here, this line here, might be a little hard to see with the sun, is a level line. It's the same line right here. It's the same thing. This is filmed from a celestial point of view, and this is filmed from a terrestrial point of view. It's the same line at the same time. This is a level line, but this is how we see from our terrestrial point of view at celestial things. So this is a real sunset up here. For lack of time, I just got to keep moving. So here's our atmosphere, right? I'm standing on the earth. The atmosphere, when I look up, I'm looking through that much atmosphere. So when I'm looking at a celestial object, I'm looking through the least amount of atmosphere. But when I look across at something closer to the horizon, I'm looking through all atmosphere. I'm looking through an infinitesimal amount of more atmosphere. When you're looking through the atmosphere, lots of things happen. But we don't see like this. This is an orthographic point of view. Nobody sees things from the side. We all see things forward, right? This is what it really looks like. The sky ramps down, the land ramps up, and that's how we experience the world. So a lot of people like to say, flat earthers in this thing, they said, well, the sun's 3,000 miles up, it would be 30 miles wide and whatever. That works, but it could be 1,500 miles up and half the size, or a tenth of the size and a tenth of the distance. Sizing and variance, you can make up 100 things. But a lot of anti-flat earthers, like going after flat earthers, saying, oh, it's 3,000 miles up, so we can do some math. We can say, all right, we got 3,000 miles up, and we measure 3,000 miles away, and we could do some math and figure out where the sun is. Then we put the sun above this guy, and we put another sun 3,000 miles over there, and we could say this is a 45-degree angle, and this is a 22.5-degree angle, and the sun would never set. The sun would never set. This is an orthographic view. We never see in an orthographic view. We see in a perspective view. And the sun just goes beyond the atmospheric deck of opacity, which I'll show you more about, I think, in a little bit. This is a shot. I had a drone up in the air, super clear, super dry. The sun went down, 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 and it stopped. And it stayed there for 10 minutes. This is super sped up. My friends are at the beach over here, and they saw the sunset from the bottom up 10 minutes ago. I'm still watching the sun. What did it do? It just faded out. It went so far away that it could not push its light through all of that atmosphere, and it just faded out. We call it the sun fade out. I have an app. It's called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's on flatearthdave.com. And right here is a whole series on sun fade outs. If you want to learn more, you could spend a couple hours there. So what is going on here? Are you falling forward and backwards, or is the sun coming forward? I'm just reversing this back and forth. Is that cameraman falling forward at 1,000 miles an hour, or is that light in the sky approaching you and rising due to perspective? Are you moving, or is that moving? What is the sun? Great question. That's a longer thing. Here's one. So people say the sun, if the earth is flat, the sun will get smaller and smaller. Lots of times it does. But this is terrestrial perspective. This train is a terrestrial object from a terrestrial viewer, and it's getting smaller as it goes away. Now, we all know that. We've all experienced that. So here is an orthographic view of what this guy is seeing right here. It might be in the way for some of you. So this is the sun just going away, and it looks like it's going down. It goes into the horizon, right? So if we take those trains and we move it up, the one at the top is already smaller because it's farther away. And when it goes down, and when it goes away, you don't see it getting much smaller, but it does get a little smaller. But as it's going lower, you're looking through more and more and more atmosphere, and that atmosphere is magnifying it while it's getting smaller. Doesn't always work perfectly because sometimes the sun gets bigger, sometimes it gets smaller, all depending on the atmospheric conditions. Now here we go. I got this ball, and I got another one identical size just over here. And now I'm raising the camera up, and I'm not getting any closer to that ball. And what's happening? This is like, because it's already away, the balls are almost the same size. Right here. Okay? So if I rolled that ball down the track, it wouldn't change size. So that's why we see the sun remaining mostly the same size. It's a simple, it's not a trick, it's just the way perspective works. And if I had sound, with Paul singing, but the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning round. Curvature, boats over the horizon. That's a big one. Everyone's like, boats go over the horizon. Different disappears from the bottom up. We were all shown that three-masted ship in grade school. But if you watch that video again, that exact video, edit, and every time the ship went down, they lowered the camera. I could see your heads back there, but now I can't. You're below the horizon of these heads over here. That's all they did. It's just a trick. Why do they have to lie if the Earth is a globe? What? I'm stuck? I'm good. I didn't change it yet. So here is a time lapse of a bay, non-tidal bay, and watch the buildings. The buildings disappear. It's a little hard to see, but the beach is disappearing. The buildings disappear. The mountains. This is just atmosphere. Nothing's changing here. This is a static camera. Look at those buildings. And then they're gone. And if you're watching this, normally, we don't normally stand there in time lapse and watch things for hours and hours. The glober will go, look, the building's gone. You can't see it. The Earth is a globe, right? That's just because it's just atmospheric conditions. Here we got a horizon here, super clear day. We take a drone, we raise it up. Now, if we're on a ball, the higher up you are, the farther you can see, the lower the Earth would be. You're always at the top. The Earth farther away, it goes lower and lower. But when we raise it up, we can see the horizon farther. That can only happen on a flat Earth. Only happen on a flat Earth, right? And talk about atmospheric refraction. I got a lens here, and I have this boat on a flat table, and we're just dragging it away. There's the sun. It's disappearing on a flat table. No atmosphere, no waves, no other. There's a lot of things that make things disappear from the bottom up, but this is just being pulled across with some atmospheric magnification. It's a simple test. You can do it yourself. The atmosphere does magnify things, and things disappear from the bottom. Oh, the bottoms of the buildings are missing on a flat table. That means that table's spherical. Okay? So here's the Red Bull jump. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Red Bull jump. He saw the horizon. You know, he saw the curvature." But they had fisheye lenses for everything except the camera in the capsule behind him. And 10 feet off the ground and 127,000 feet is it? The horizon is the same. At 127,000 feet, if you do the math, there would be 381,000 feet drop to that horizon. But it's still at the exact same level as from the ground, okay? If you can't wrap your mind around that, you're unwilling to change your paradigm based on factual information. Coincidence? Coincidence, thank you. So you can't see the curve from 24 miles up, but, you know, rockets follow the curve of the Earth, right? But chemtrails don't. Chemtrails go straight. All right, so this is the Red Bull rocket launch, is it Red Bull? Whatever it's called. It's sponsored by Red Bull. Unedited, NASA and SpaceX edit before it clears the friggin' tower. You see like 7 edits, right? This thing went up. I wish we had sound, but don't screw with it. And it all of a sudden it goes kerplunk. It went into some other medium. It stopped spinning. And that was interesting. We see this flat horizon, but this is the moon. That's interesting. This took off in Arizona, right? Arizona is right here. So it's noon here. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. It's about 11 a.m. in Arizona, and the moon was over here. So if the Earth was a basketball, that rocket is a millimeter, a fraction of a millimeter above the basketball, and the moon is on the floor. How did it see the moon? Okay? Refraction, gravity, anybody? Okay? If the Earth is a globe, there is a required distance to a physical horizon, but there is no physical horizon. The horizon is optical. These mountains here, all 8 of these, are over 700 miles away. There should be over 40 miles of curvature, physical curvature. So the mainstream, the only answer they could have is refraction. These are refracting up and stopping at eye level, right? You know what the mainstream media says about this, all scientists? Nothing. They don't even acknowledge its existence. They cannot acknowledge the existence of photos like this, and there's many, right? So here we did a test on a frozen lake at night. We have a camera at just 6 inches off the ice. We put these lights out here, 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Just using the curvature calculator, it was bad enough. But I took off refraction, which I don't even believe it would affect it at all, and made it the best favor of the globe. 30 feet of curvature, 22, 15, and 9, but somehow they all showed up on the same level. Somehow. They all refracted up just the right amount at those distances and formed a straight line. Again, this is rock-solid proof that we're not on a ball, the size that they tell us at least. It would have to be thousands of times bigger. This is Mount Canigou. This is a shot from Aluja, France. We're looking out. Mount Canigou is over the ocean, 275 miles away. We can't see it because the top of the mountain is over a half a mile below the curvature. Or we can't see it because the light that's bouncing off of Mount Canigou isn't strong enough to push through the atmosphere and make it to our eyes. But twice a year when the sun lines up with the viewing spot of Mount Canigou, all of a sudden you can see Mount Canigou right here in its entirety. This is Mount Canigou. It's not a cloud. It's exactly where it's supposed to be. It's exactly it's on your horizon. Again, this is undeniable proof that we're not on a ball, but some people are just unwilling to look at it, right? 100,000 feet from NASA, 120,000 feet from an amateur. Somebody's lying, right? Circumnavigation. I can go around the world. You know, Amelia Earhart went around the world. The north is at the center, south is on the outside, east and west are circles. That doesn't prove the earth is flat. That proves that they're both the same. It works the same on both flat earth and round earth. So here I have a compass, a boat, whatever you want to call it, an airplane, and I'm pushing it west. Look at the needle. The needle points towards the center. So east and west are circles around the center. That's all circumnavigation is. Now, if I try to dead wreck in west, watch. The needle turns. I'm heading south. South is every direction away from the center. That is south. That is south. That is south. South is every direction. If you point north, just keep going until you pass north, and now you're going south. Amelia Earhart went around the world, east or west. Those are all the stops that she made. That's all she did. She went around the world over the earth plane in her airplane. Right? And a lot of people say, flat earthers, this is their favorite meme, besides cats would have pushed everything off the earth by now. They say, how did Japan attack Hawaii? Right? This is how they did. Just like that. Right there. There's a boom. I mean, they'd have a better job than California attacking Hawaii, I think. Pretty close. All right? So airplanes, that's another one. Are all pilots in on it? A lot of them know. None of them are in on it, but they don't want to lose their jobs. I have tons of pilots, American Airlines, Delta Airlines, Qantas Airlines, that call me all the time and tell me stuff. One of them said, there's nothing in our manuals anymore, and we aren't required to know how anything works in flight school. If we ask a question how something works, they say, we don't need to know that. You don't need to know that. They said years ago they had to know how to rebuild the plane or they weren't allowed to fly it. They also have to figure out their angle of descent. They're 100 miles out. They say, oh, we have to drop this much per mile to get to the runway. And they do not calculate in Earth curvature. 100 miles away, if they use the math that they use, when they get to the runway, it's going to be over a mile below them. But for some reason, it's there. Can anyone figure out why? If the Earth is spinning, this is what we're doing. Okay? Right here, the Earth is moving 1,000 miles an hour. Here, it's moving 500 miles an hour. And here, it's just pirouetting like this. Right? So how's that airplane speeding up? 1,000 miles an hour, 500 miles an hour, 0 miles an hour. 500 miles, 1,000 miles. How is it doing that? Unless it's not doing that. Right? So here is a simulation of if you're flying around the world, this is what you would experience on a ball. The stars in the distance would be rising because you're diving over the ball, right? But this is what happens in reality. This is a shot from Germany to Brazil, going all the way over the ball, and the stars aren't rising. They're not rising at all in either direction, right? They're not rising at all. This is what Google Earth says should happen, just what I showed you. And that makes sense if we live on a ball. But reality versus Google Earth, which added curvature, I think, in 2001 to Google Earth. Reality versus lies from Google. I don't know what to say. Satellites, that's a big one. How do satellites work? Well, NASA's the largest consumer of helium. They own all the helium in the world, pretty much. And they leave just enough for party balloons and maybe an occasional Goodyear blimp. But they put up thousands and thousands of these satelloons. One of my American Airlines pilots called me and said, we received a message that 2 NASA balloons are descending from 55,000 feet in our airspace and they have no transponder. He freaked out because he knows there's like 8,000-pound satellites on this thing, and the other co-pilot's like, oh, balloon, that's cool. And so there, nothing happened. He didn't see it, but interesting that a balloon is traveling. So people's like, what about satellite phones, right? I have a whole presentation on that. This is Starlink. I've seen it myself. Right? Lots of you probably have. You look up, you see these lights going through the sky. What are they? How far away are they? They look really low. They look really low. And they are really low. Here's a 747. Here's a 747. Can you see the engines? Right? The engines are huge, and you can't see them at 7 miles high. 7 miles high. That's the engine. Okay? So 7 miles high. Can't see it. Right? This is a Starlink satellite. It's about 3 times the size of that human, which you probably didn't even see. He's tiny. So how many of those humans can you fit in here? Let's say you can fit 10, 15 of them in this giant engine. You can't see it at 7 miles high, right? You can't see it at 7 miles high, but those satellites are 340 miles up. Could you see a school desk 340 miles away? You couldn't see it 10 miles away. So we are seeing something, but it's not what they're telling us. It's a deception. All of the communications of the world, 99% of all of our communications, internet, phone, everything are done through undersea cables. And if you actually follow the cables, they actually prove the Earth is flat because there's no cable from Santiago to Australia, which there should be. It goes all the way up to the north and then all the way back down. Cables actually prove the Earth is flat. You have to believe that NASA is tracking all of these satellites. Right? All of these satellites NASA's tracking while we're corkscrewing through space. Somehow these things are staying, while we're spinning, corkscrewing, and traveling 500,000 miles an hour, these things just stay right over Iowa or wherever they want them. Okay? Magically. These are all the garbage that they're also tracking, right? We can't keep track of 2 Malaysian flights, but they can keep track of all of this. All right? Right? And all of this is going on while this is going on. So one of these little dots here is us in a space vacuum, scientifically impossible space vacuum, and all these satellites are just mirroring, they're perfect. They kick them out of the door and like, okay, go do your thing and never need service and need as much electricity as you want and everything works, always, in the most hostile environment. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. This is real satellites, and this is a Globetardia satellite, right? They're all CGI. And again, on my app, you can find tons on satellites. I don't have time to show you here, but on the frequently asked question page, it's amazing. Gravity, that's a big one. That's a big G is what they need. Walter Lewin, MIT professor, says it's electric forces that hold our world together. The sun and the moon are the anode and the cathode. The land is the salt bridge, and the salt water carries the current. That's interesting. That makes a battery. Flat earthers are absolutely crazy because we think down is this way everywhere on Earth. Down is down for everybody, right? Globe earthers, down is antipodal to people on the other side on a spinning ball while you're corkscrewing through space. Down is amazing, all right? Buoyancy and density, right? This blimp is lighter than the boat. The boat's lighter than the water. The submarine's heavier than the water. Buoyancy and density sort everything out. But what makes things go down? So here are some leftover party balloons, and we got it tied to this little button, and we have this wire, and we're adding a positive charge to it. The ground has a negative charge. So we make that more positive charge. It went down, and when we discharge it, it goes back up. Did we make it heavier, or did we change the electrostatic potential of it? All right, this is, oops, I went back. That one was a triangle. We added a negative charge to it. It went up. This is, MIT made this. It's called the silent drone. They're just putting a negative charge into it, and it flies. Has no moving parts. It flies. Electrostatics, right? Are we fighting gravity or are we fighting something else? You want to learn more about gravity? Gravity section in the frequently asked question. The law of large numbers, and all of you that watch me, you probably all know this. The two people that raised their hand when I said, do you believe in a globe? How long is 1 trillion seconds? Glober? How long is 1 trillion seconds? If you guess it within... No, there's a flat earther over there. You've just identified yourself. So 31,000 years is 1 trillion seconds. Just let that sink in, right? 31,000 years. So that's 12 zeros. So they tell us that the electrostatic force is 10 to the 36. It's actually 39, but I made a typo, but it doesn't matter because the number is so ridiculous. You can't even comprehend it. Times stronger than gravity. So that's what that number looks like. You can hide Bitcoin in that number, okay? Right? 1 trillion is right there. And then those next 3 zeros make it 1,000 times more than that, which is incomprehensible. And then 1,000 times more than that, we're not even there yet, right? So if the electrostatic force, which I just proved to you is a real thing, how can you say gravity is anything when it's that much stronger? They're telling us gravity is nothing by giving us this number. Tides, that's another big one. Well, the moon is pulling the water. The tides with the moon are the dumbest thing ever. Right? There's these tidal nodes, and these red and blues are high tides and low tides that circle these tidal nodes. They have no correlation to the moon. Nobody knows why that happens. I don't know why that happens, but I think it has to do with the electromagnetic fields of the Earth. So they tell us that high tides we got the moon over here, and it makes a high tide right here, and then there's a low tide here, and then there's another high tide here. Do you know what their official story is for that? The moon is pulling the water away from the water away from the Earth, creating a bulge. And then the moon is also pulling the Earth away from the water to make a bulge on the other side. That's the official story, right? People that are globe believers don't even know that, because if they knew that, they'd be like, maybe this flat Earth has something to it, right? Here's the other thing. When there's a full moon, we have bigger tides. Bigger tides when there's a full moon. That's a fact, right? But when there's a full moon, the sun is over here. The sun's holding onto the Earth and Pluto and everything in between, right? Don't you think there would be a bigger tide over here? And when there's a new moon, the moon's still there. Now we got the moon and the sun over here. There should be a gigantic tide here, but there's not. The moon is electric in nature. The sun and the moon are part of this battery system, and I think that the moon's electric charge does affect the salt water that carries the current. That's why there's no tides in freshwater lakes, right? You would weigh less on a full moon night. Everybody would weighing themselves on when the moon is full because, hey, I'm lighter. Okay? Planets. These are, the NASA shows us planets, right? Now, I'll be honest, these are not planets from NASA. These look better than NASA's planets, but these are all frying pans. Okay? These are all just burnt out frying pans, right? Now, the stuff NASA shows us is absolutely ridiculous. So, is this the sun or the moon setting down this aisleway, right? Do we know what it is? It looks round. It looks kind of, it could be the sun, it could be the moon, or it could be a train with no round lights on it. It's got rectangular lights, blue lights, orange lights, and it all goes together because that's how we see everything in the distance comes together. So when they say, I see a round light in the sky, I don't care if it is round or not. You don't know it's round, and if it is, so what? The lights in your ceiling do not dictate the shape of the floor. This is a Voyager or whatever fake spacecraft going towards Jupiter years ago. Look at this. The winds are going different ways. The giant storm is spinning. The clouds are changing. Amazing, right? That's over a period of hours or days or weeks. I forget what it was. Doesn't matter. This is the 2014 famous image that we all see. 2016, they said Jupiter has a magnetic core because we see the northern lights. Look at this. Did they even use Photoshop or did they use MS Paint? Okay. But look at the wind, everything is exactly the same. Every cloud is exactly the same. Are they lazy or are they just rubbing it in our eye going, hey, let's see how stupid these people are. Okay? This is what NASA and Disney show us, and this is what all powerful telescopes and zoom lenses show us. This is what we see. I think the moon is spherical. I can't prove it, but it has nothing to do with the shape of the Earth. Saturn, famous picture of Saturn. We took it off their website, put it in Photoshop, cranked up the levels, and it is just slapped together, crappy, amateur cut and paste job. This is a picture of Mars from the rover. Mars, it's amazing. Look at it, right? Or did they just replace the sky and it's a desert somewhere? Or maybe it's the moon, right? Maybe it's the moon, okay? Or maybe it's a construction site in New Jersey looking over at the city, okay? I don't need Photoshop to do this. I did this with Canva. It took me 2 minutes. I had the free version, right? NASA gets $80 million a day. Okay, here's Mars. Look at the shadow over here. Where's the shadow over here? That's weird, right? Here's the moon from NASA.gov. The sun's over here. Look at the shadows below these solar panels. How's that work? Right? Again, and then this one, if we look carefully, we were zooming in on a shot. We discovered life on Mars. Look, right here, a fly. There's a fly. Life on Mars. We've proven it. Or life on Devon Island and wherever that is. All right? Star rotation, that's a big one. Everyone likes looking up at the lights in the sky going, well, the stars are go in the opposite direction. Ready? I'm making a clockwise circle. I'm in the north. You guys are in the south. You guys see a clockwise circle? Well, then the stage is a globe. Okay? You're upside down. You're upside down. And then when we think that the sky has a firmament and there's water, when we put water in front of these rotating stars, they change directions. So the optics of what? Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay. So this is one of the big things. They say, well, from these 3 continents, you can see the Southern Cross at the same time. And that is only true for 20 minutes of one day from these extreme locations of one day per year. But if you were seeing the Southern Cross from here and here, you're looking down underneath the globe. So one person would see it upside down compared to the other, but they don't. They all see it the same orientation. Again, that doesn't prove anything. This is what we see in the sky. The sky is moving. We're not moving. We're not moving except this morning we moved a little bit, and you notice that. But we're whirling and twirling and doing all sorts of other things, and we don't notice that. But they do a clip like this where they focus on a star and the mount follows the star, and people look, proof the Earth is spinning. Look at this. Do you think this could ever happen? Because this would have to happen every day, all the time. Photos of Earth. This is on everyone's iPhone. When it first came out, photoshopped clouds. They're cut and paste the same clouds. All of you that have looked into this have seen that. But what about the space station? That little circle is what we're seeing there. Do you see a problem? Do you see a problem? This is just a high altitude shot with a fisheye lens. Here's the 2002 blue marble. If we drop that down onto a world map, the rest of this land is on the other side of that ball. The rest of this land is on the other side of that ball. Does that make any sense? Here's something we can measure across Mexico and Baja, and we can say, all right, this is 934 miles. The diameter of the Earth is 7,917. I should be able to fit 8.5 of these across this globe, right? I can't even fit them on this screen, right? So that should tell you something. This was one that got me. Oh my God, global dimming, same clouds. 2078, 2017, same clouds, right? Which one's harder to paint? These are both paintings. Both paintings. This is they filmed this from the space station. The 400-mile wide hurricane. 400 miles wide. Well, let's put that on a ball. Let's post a picture of the globe in there. America is less than 400 miles wide, according to that. Right? Again, if you want to learn more about, here we go. More about that, the images section, just type in photos of Earth or Earth, and you'll see tons and tons and tons of memes. Eclipses, that's always a big one. I'm going to whiz through this. The Selenian eclipse, that's when the sun and the moon are both above the horizon without the Earth is supposed to go in between and cause a shadow, right? But the last one, the observer can see the sun and the moon above, and the shadow came in from the top. How does that work? You know what they call this? The scientists call this, because they don't like pronouncing Selenilian, because I can't pronounce it. They call it the impossible eclipse. But they don't explain it. They're like, well, it's impossible, but it has to work because the Earth is a globe. Okay? I'm going to whiz through this. Whenever you see a solar eclipse, you think it's the moon, but it's just missing sun. These are really low resolution on here. Missing sun, missing sun, missing sun. Something is blocking there. But if you want to learn about that, there's great videos in the eclipses section. If you come to my workshop on Thursday, 10 a.m., we can go over that more in detail. Day and night. This is if the Earth was a globe with a single source light, only half, no matter how it's tilted or spun, would always be lit, always, and half would be in darkness. But that's not what we see. On July 8th, 99% of the Earth's population, a lot of flat earthers get that wrong, it's 70% of the Earth is in light at the same time. So you can't have a single source light on a globe lighting up that much of the Earth, but this is how it translates to a globe, right? This is a shot from NASA, and more than half of the globe is lit. That's impossible. Impossible, right? Day and night. So we just have a flat Earth map, and we have a glass dome here, and I'm just moving a light. And it's interesting how it makes the same patterns where the light wraps around. See how the light wraps around? Day and night. Have tons of stuff. Southern flights are one of my favorite. This is the World Cup. They went from Doha to Rome to get fuel and then to Buenos Aires. Why did they do that? Well, that's what it really looks like. They got fuel because they can't get fuel out here, right? So it's a straight line. Southern flights. Rio to Sydney stops in Los Angeles. That's weird on a globe. Makes a lot more sense on a flat Earth. Buenos Aires to New Delhi makes perfect sense on a flat Earth. Makes zero sense on a globe. Sydney to Lima, Peru. Everybody wants to go there. Nobody wants to go to Los Angeles. Nobody wants to go to Los Angeles. And it's a straight line. Okay? Whizzing through. Durban to Sydney stops in Dubai. Straight line again. And the last one is South Africa to Australia. Stops in Dubai, Hong Kong, or Malaysia. Look at it on a flat Earth map. Makes a lot more sense there, right? And that's the map that they use in autopilots. And New Zealand to Argentina, that's the shortest way according to Google Earth. But this is the way that they go. They go all the way up to San Francisco, Houston, Texas, and Argentina. Does that make any sense? Look at it on a flat Earth map. That makes sense. Straight line. Then there's all these wind currents, 350 mile an hour tailwinds. So for these long trips, they're taking advantage of these tailwinds. But if you want to learn more, just type in Southern Flights. You can see all of these stuff and look at them in detail. Emergency landings. This is the flight from Hong Kong. It was going to the UK. It flew for 8 hours and it landed. It flew for 4 hours. 4 hours into the flight, a mom dies. Kids traveling with her, husband, she's dead in her chair. They didn't land for 8 hours. What's going on? They didn't land for 8 hours because they were over Russia. And if they landed, two things would happen. Russia might have helped them, and that could have sparked world peace. Or somebody might have said, what the hell are you doing flying over Russia? And I would say, this is why. This is why. So they couldn't land, and they finally landed in Germany. At that point, those kids are ruined for life. They might as well just gone the extra hour and landed in the UK. And all sorts of emergency landings. They go 1,000 miles out of the way. They land in Moscow, but Moscow is really on their flight path. And the times that they get to these places are impossible on the globe, but nobody wants to pay attention. Emergency landings, 16 emergency landings proving flat Earth. You can find that on my website. It's a great coffee table book. Asteroids and meteors. So we all see this. They all come in at this angle. So this is a shot that this is asteroids coming in, but this is a shot somebody got of them testing some weapons out in Arizona, right? And they're shooting these weapons and really low to the ground while they're testing so nobody can see it, but somebody got this video, and if you compare it to what these things are, it looks exactly the same. So, I don't know how weapons of meteors that come in this way create perfect round craters like this, these craters. Right? But if you compare these craters to geysers, meteor, I don't know. They look kind of the same to me. These are geysers. Those are meteors. Makes no sense. If we look at meteor showers, if we're seeing them come down in the north, they're seeing them go up in the south. Or vice versa. No one's ever seen a meteor shoot up from the horizon. They all go down. Right? What are meteors? I don't believe they're rocks falling from space. NASA doesn't prove the Earth is flat, but they're the ones that everyone believes the Earth is not as a globe because of them. They're founder of Scientology, a cartoon producer, a Nazi, an occultist, and Aleister Crowley. Those are your board of directors, people. Okay, the The heavens declare the glory of God. This is Werner von Braun, the head of NASA, a Nazi scientist. That's his gravestone, and that's all he has written on it. What is that? Is that a deathbed confession? He wrote a book in 1957 called Project Mars about a group of people that went to Mars led by a guy named Elon. That's Elon's rocket. That's Werner von Braun rocket in 1957. Are they pre-programming us? Are they casting a spell? I don't have time to show you this one, but this one will show you that all rockets are fake. This is that rocket landing. Now watch these people. Here it comes. So cool. Look at this thing. Look how close they are too. Ready? Oh my God. It looks like it's going to blow up. Watch the reaction. Nothing. Nothing. There's nothing. These people are not there. This is just a fake video. Nothing. No reaction whatsoever. Okay? This is NASA. They got some fresh fruit up there, and they're playing with it. Watch. Watch. Watch the hand. Okay? One more time. Okay? That's called augmented reality. They're lying to your kids, right? They're teaching it, this is a real ball. It's filled with helium. This up here, oh, look, there's a stuffed animal up there now, and now she's playing with it. And they even made a little Star Trek beaming in sound, okay? I'm getting there. If you don't see that they're using green screens and layering, this is on the space station, then I can't help you. This is not real. This isn't a studio. They're hanging from wires. They're doing all sorts of different things, right? And in 1999, gravity on, gravity off in 2023. What's going on? What's going on? Are you going to, they got the harness, they're showing me a harness. They use all different types of things. 4 million pounds is blowing around in the wind like a bouncy house filled with helium. Okay? What is going on there? Right? And then this is an important one. The thrust coming out of here, superheated. It's coming out at 20,000 miles an hour. Watch that fence. What happens when you have winds at like 200 miles an hour? You guys should know, the people that live here, right? Look at this place, right? 20,000 mile an hour superheated, nothing happens. Nothing. Nothing happens to anything, right? This is all nonsense. This is a light show. It's a helium balloon. There's no people on there ever. This thing can go Mach 3.2. Any faster, it rips apart. This thing can go Mach 33. It's got like square boxes and PVC and all sorts of stuff, right? How is that possible? This is a blimp, all right? If you want to learn that, and they all go right out into the horizon, realize. And if you want to learn more, I got a special section, faking space, balloon rockets, and moon mission nonsense. That'll blow your mind, right? Where is your model? Where's your model? Where's your model? Here's our model. Watch this film. It's on the app. It's right here in the movies section, FE movies, and then you'll see our map. It's the Antikythera mechanism. I'm getting close. This is what they want you to think a cult leader looks like, but this is what a cult leader looks like. This man is a cult leader, and he has nothing. He will never address us properly, right? Why the lie? This is the most important part. What difference does it make? I have to go to work on Monday. I don't have to go to work on Monday. I'm staying in Mexico for 2 months, okay? All right? Why the lie? That's an important one. All the music industry, everything, home entertainment, video games, combination, $292 billion a year, space, $410 billion. It's not about the money, but that is one thing that is important. Divine law is the law of God. Common law is the law of the land. Statute law, admiral maritime law is the law of the sea or man's law. In order to convince a man to give up his divine rights and their common rights, you have to convince them that they are not divinely created in a divine world, right? They have to dilute you. You want to dilute something, pour it into a bigger container like infinite space, all right? If you play on their game board, you consent to play by their rules. He who creates it owns it. Their game board, their fake money, they own you. All right? What has Flat Earth done for anyone's well-being? Well, it's done a lot. We're more at peace, I can tell you that for sure. Greater sense of freedom and a closer connection to the Creator. I was an atheist before I discovered Flat Earth. All right? So, what happens? What did they do? What if there's more land? Now, you don't have to go, I can prove Flat Earth without speculating. This is speculating. What if there's more land out there? They could cut it out, they wrap it around a sphere, and they tell you this is where you live, and you're not allowed to explore this white area down here. They literally put us in a cage. It's a prison for your mind, and it's to stop you from thinking beyond. Your thoughts create your reality, and they've entrapped you in a globe of scarcity and fear and all sorts of nonsense. And so why does it matter? This is the most important topic on earth because all of the other lies are based on the foundation of the helio-nonsensical satanic lie. And if you think flat earth is dying, this is my app. These are the people that are on the friend finder. Okay? They're everywhere. They're going everywhere. 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, 90 seconds, right? And all across the world, more and more people are waking up. It's helping them. The app is on my website. It's super fun. Any of you that have Android phones that are here, come find me. I'll give you a free version of the app, and I'll set you up. And then, so again, this is my workshop. I'm offering 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. Come 10/10 on Thursday, and that is it.